everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I'm here to review Altered Carbon Season 2. Now, Season 1 came out 3 years ago. Netflix loves to take their time with these, or so they say. They take about 2 to 3 years to come out with another season. Put that in perspective, Stranger Things takes anywhere from 2 to 3 years off. And anything between from BoJack Horseman to anything like that takes a while. And it's because they're pumping out so much crap. It's kind of a running gag that if anyone can get something, if you can't get something greenlit on Netflix, then maybe you suck. But that was Seth laughing in the background. You heard that. But I'm here to review Altered Carbon Season 2. Now, Season 2 takes place 30 years after the events of what happened in Season 1. And they kind of use that to explain why Takeshi Kovacs is a little bit different, why he's a little bit more relaxed, he's not as uptight, so I give him that, trying to explain that. But Season 2, to me, was a lot like Age of Ultron or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It is fun, you're still in this world, they're fun, you get to come back to it, you get to see the characters you get to see a lot of the characters that you like. It focuses a little bit, but it does focus a little much on world building. Season 1 was this kind of almost Blade Runner-esque LA noir kind of neo-noir kind of thing, where with the lights and the voiceover by Joel Kinnaman, who was the best I've ever seen him in, especially after freaking him in Suicide Squad as Flag, and then I saw him in this, Season 1 as Takeshi Kovacs, and I love the Flag, but they cut back on that. First of all, Season 1 was more contained. Sure, there was a bigger world at play. It was in the future. There are other planets, but they only really touch upon that stuff. They focused in on this case, on the mysterious case of the murdered meth, which are like super uber rich people who can live forever, meths. And this season is a little bit more broad. They kind of talk a little bit more about the other worlds as a whole. They start to get into who found stacks and how stacks were found, and they started to kind of be a little bit more broad and try to do a lot more world building this season. They focused a lot more on that, which sometimes would be interesting, and other times it would be kind of sloppy, and it kind of be like, I wish they would have just narrowed the focus on a singular thing. Now, this season is about Kovacs trying to chase down his lover / mentor / I guess rebel leader, goddamn, I always say her name. It's Quell. It's a weird name. It's called Quell Cress Falconer. That's her name, Quell Cress Falconer. And she was like, and if you watch Season 1, you know that she was the creator of Stacks. She basically is the reason people can live forever in this new world. She created it, but she realized that but when she created it for another purpose, people took it and turned it into something else to make profit and whatnot. And, that's what the whole show's about. Both Season 1 and Season 2, for the most part, still, is the idea that how man, no matter what kind of amazing technology they get, will find a way to pervert it, find a way to use it to fuck over other people. And that's kind of what what the show's still going on about, the theme message. But that's what mostly the show's about, is him finding her. But the big new thing is, Joel Kinnaman is out and Anthony Mackie is in. What made sense, because in the original season, it turns out that Joel Kinnaman's body, the suit he was in, was an actual normal man who was dating this girl. So it makes sense that he wouldn't want to be in that body anymore. And the way that I still think that it's fascinating, the idea of the human body just being this sleeve. That's still a fascinating concept to me that I never even thought. There is some Buddha shit and some other people I know, religions and things that kind of talk like that, like the body is just the body is just a temple for the mind and all these other things. But this show takes that to another level. The idea that your body is just nothing. Your body doesn't really mean anything. Literally, people in the first season, nudity in the first season to me wasn't the same as most nudity scenes, because to me it was almost like, yeah, I'm nude, but it's like, whatever. This is just a body. That idea was kind of just a fascinating concept. They cut back on the nudity. Way back on the nudity. There is barely any nudity in this season. And I'm not saying that I'm disappointed that I'm not going to see any nude people. I'm just saying that that's a thing. They did cut back on the nudity. They cut back on a lot of the aspects that made the show really great, but still, the action is still fun. But the big thing, like I said, is Anthony Mackie. Now, Anthony Mackie, I love Anthony Mackie. Falcon, obviously. Falcon, I've seen him in many different things. He was in, actually, funny thing is, he was in 8 Miles. He was in all these different things. And he was recently in a Black Mirror episode as well. And I love Anthony Mackie. He's a charming guy. And he brings that charm to it. But it's sometimes kind of jarring because you get used to Joe Kinnaman's version of Takeshi. And the original Takeshi was this Asian guy. But he's so different. And sometimes, but he's trying to play like Takeshi, like he's trying to be a more serious version of himself. But at the end of the day, he's still Anthony Mackie. He's still charming. He's still a little bit witty. Like I said, they try to come up with a reason for that by saying that it takes place 30 years after the events of the original season. So you can kind of go, well, maybe he lightened up. You know, you can kind of put the conclusion in your mind, maybe he lightened up. But it still gets some getting used to, and I didn't really get used to it until like maybe about 5 episodes in, and then I was just like, okay, this is who he is. But anyways, this season's more about this revolution or this conspiracy going on, and I can't really get into it without spoiling much else. The action is still top notch. It's still fun action. It's still good action, though at times I don't think they did the transition of putting in the stunt double. Because at times, like, I couldn't help but notice that it was just like, this dude's way skinnier than Anthony Mackie. And I'm just like, I know there's a stunt double. And I know I shouldn't be looking at this because it doesn't matter. But it just, the transition just wasn't as smooth. But all in all, I think it was a fun second season, but it was a disappointment. It wasn't as good as the first season. I don't think it was anywhere near as good as the first season. The first season I gave like a 9, man. I gave like a 9. This one I'm giving a 7. It's still good. It's still fun. It's still worth watching. If you are a fan of the original series, you would be doing yourself a disservice if not to watch it because it still is good. It's still a good continuation. But when they took away some of the things that made the original good, there's a lot of characters that don't make an appearance. Poe in this season, who was a scene stealer, he's entertaining at times, but most of the time throughout the show, he's more annoying. And there's a question that I'm not going to tell you guys what, because I want you to see the show, that you keep asking yourself while you're watching him. You're just like, just do this, but he won't. So, and like I said, there are characters that don't come back. There are things that aren't referenced to. You feel like there's a lot of wheels spinning in this second season. So I gotta give it a 7. I'm disappointed. I wished it was better, but it's still entertaining. I mean, like I said, I don't regret watching it. I still had a fun time watching it, and I like Anthony Mackie's interpretation. But, I hope when they come back 3 years and make another season, because I'm sure they will, that they can, do better with what they did in this season. But thank you guys for joining the Common Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. And what is your thoughts on Altered Carbon Season 2? Have you seen it? What do you think? What do you think about Anthony Mackie's performance? Please comment below. Let me know. And always remember, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.